It's been Donald Trump all weekend, it seems. He spent the weekend defending himself on a few fronts. First up, allegations that he posed as his own spokesperson to brag about himself way back in 1991. See if you think John Miller sounds a little familiar.
What's your name again? John Miller. What kind of comment is coming from your agency? From Donald? He's coming out of a, marriage that... And he's starting to do tremendously well financially. As you know, there's a real estate depression in the United States, and he's probably doing as well as anybody there is. And frankly, he wants to keep it that way.
So he keeps denying this is him.
It's him.
But everybody else seems to say, I don't know. What do you think?
He denied it Friday on the Today Show.
Right.
And apparently the Washington Post.
Yeah, he keeps saying it. But what do you
called
think?
him up.
Do you think it's him?
He didn't even change his cadence. He said tremendously well. That's what he says now.
I got such a kick out of this weekend, so I was playing it over and over again, and I got my husband to listen to it, and we just broke out in like peals of laughter every time we listened to it, because it's obviously him. And actually, Thomas Owen, he's a forensic audio specialist. He says that he can conclude with a fair degree of scientific certainty that it is Donald Trump's voice.
I mean, it's him.
So it's,
it doesn't take an audio specialist to figure that out.
Why are you surprised that he's posing as somebody else? He's been posing as a presidential candidate. And you know what else I like to say about this? He seems... I don't want to say it's a psychiatric disorder, but there's some split personality thing going on here where he is running around. Could you imagine if Obama did this? How Fox News would devote a whole year to the programming to discuss this one thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a split personality. I think it's one giant horrible one, but I will add that I am learning something from this because as someone who can't afford a publicist, I can just be my own publicist. Like Michelle Miller, call people like, listen, Michelle is doing fabulously. She's tremendously well. She needs a table for two at Spago tonight, but I would not disguise my voice, obviously.
Well, people keep saying his credibility is going to take a hit for this. What do you think?
Well, what kills me about this whole situation is that...
That's funny.
What kills me about this whole situation, he was deposed years ago, and he admitted in this deposition to using John Miller as a pseudonym. So that's what kills me. He's on record. But I don't know. It all plays into the whole us versus them narrative.
You can't catch him on anything. It doesn't matter what he does. I'm telling you, we're going to talk about that article even in the Times this weekend. It doesn't matter. He can say whatever he wants. He's Teflon at this point. His fans, the people who are going to vote for him, do not care. And the undecided voters, I know he's in a dead heat now with Hillary.
Well, he's a liar, but he's at the very least with this little latest caper here, he's a liar because he already admitted, you can back me up on this, he already admitted it was
in
him.
1990 under oath, and I think
now he says it's not him. He's a liar. He calls
Maybe
Hillary a liar.
Remember. Maybe his age is causing him not to remember stuff too. You know, he's also defending himself against this weekend's New York Times article called "Crossing the Line: How Donald Trump Behaved with Women in Private." The article accuses him of inappropriate comments during meetings, unwanted advances. He says it's a witch hunt. I mean,
he puts down...
People have been saying this for, what is it? He says inappropriate stuff. So is this a shock?
He discredits the New York Times. I mean, but the National Enquirer is a paper of record. I mean, that's the one thing. He said that Cruz's father was responsible for Kennedy's assassination.
Along with Lee
That's fine. It's in the Enquirer. Oh, yeah, that's news. The New York Times now.
But one of the main characters, Brewer Lane, who was featured in this article, is saying that she was guaranteed by the New York Times, by the editors, that it would not be a hit. And she says, they told me several times it would not be a hit piece. They spun it to where it appeared negative. I did not have a negative experience with Donald Trump. He was gracious, kind, thoughtful, generous, and he was a gentleman.
Is that the one who dated him?
He's the one that tried on the bikini for him.
And she dated him. And the thing is, I will say, Donald Trump has come out and he tweeted, the failing New York Times wrote yet another hit piece on me. All are impressed with how nicely I have treated women. They found nothing a joke. Yet the New York Times reporter, Michael Barbaro, said actually Trump is being inaccurate because they interviewed all of the women that Trump himself asked them to interview 50-plus women and still came to the same conclusion that he was acting in a very inappropriate way with women that worked for him.
It's certainly inappropriate. I think actually what surprised me most about the article was that it wasn't even as inappropriate as I thought he would be. I mean, the stuff that they were saying, for example, having a woman by the pool trying a bikini, of course Trump's going to do that. Does that surprise me? He wouldn't ask me to. But some, like, Miss USA contestant, it doesn't shock me. The fact that he told a woman who's overweight that she's eating too much candy. You know men like this. There are boorish men out there.
Yeah, but
who
fine.
say
Why does
horrible
he have to
things.
be president of the United States?
But the point that I'm saying is he's calling it a hit piece. Personally, I thought it was saying a lot the fact that he kissed women on the lips. Can you imagine that guy coming at you with that? I mean, those lips, like two dried apricots coming at you. I would not want that.
That is called sexual harassment. Nobody likes some big overweight guy coming on and...
Well, that's the issue. Is he guilty of sexual harassment when he accuses Bill Clinton often of sexual harassment?
Okay, that's another thing. You know what? They're going to bring up Bill Clinton. When he gets accused of all of this, he brings up Bill Clinton. Okay, Bill Clinton's a dog also. What does that have to do with Hillary Clinton? Are we going to ask Melania? We're going to blame Melania for this piece in the Times?
Well, you'd have
okay,
to go,
so don't go after
you'd have
Hillary.
to perhaps go to the other wives if you're going to figure out which wife was happening when. See,
What do you mean?
Well, at least with Bill, you only have to deal with Hillary.
Right.
You got three.
Oh, you got three,
But you have to deal with three other women.
This is a group.
I mean, it's, you know, please, it's crazy. You were bringing up the fact that you thought it was interesting, as I did, that the GOP is kind of going, we got to find somebody else. They've gone to Mark Cuban. Who else?
They've gone to Mark Cuban.
Right.
You know, it's just one of the names.
Right.
Yes, exactly. But
looking for a third-party candidate to run against Trump.
Looking for a
Like an
third-party
independent
Oh, that's
person.
such a great
Is that
idea.
a good idea?
No,
But this is what's crazy. It's a day late and a dollar short. And Donald Trump is going to turn out to be the most underestimated politician in history. The Republicans have just been behind the eight ball the entire time. And now the deadline is passed in Texas. The deadline to register as an independent is going to expire for 4 other states.
It's too late. I don't know why ABC did not force all the sharks of Shark Tank to run on the same ticket. Because I would vote for them. Mark Cuban would be a fantastic president. First of all, he's tall. He looks like a president. He acts like a president. He's a
Barbara
billionaire.
Corcoran said that she would lift her skirt. So she might, you know, when she comes to a meeting, lifts her skirt. That's right up his alley.
Listen, the thing about
Trump's.
The thing about a third-party candidate is that it's never been successful. And in fact, the strongest showing for a third-party candidate came in 1912 when President Teddy Roosevelt left the Republican Party. Now, he ended up coming in second, but many people say because he was a third-party candidate, that is why Woodrow Wilson won with just 41% of the popular vote.
The Ralph Nader thing where they split the vote.
It's very silly in a sense
And
that
we
the
got
Republicans
George
would
Bush.
be trying to do that.
Right.
I just think, I mean, at the end of the day, we're going to sit here at this table and try to wrap our minds around why people embrace Donald Trump, but he's not running for saint-in-chief. I mean, this is a guy
I don't want a racist as president.
No,
Sorry.
no, I totally see that.
I don't want somebody who embraces. You know, I don't mind. I would be, you know, I've said this before. I would have been fine had he not brought in Muslims the way he did, Mexicans the way he did, and not said to the countless, you know, supremacists that seem to be backing him, hey, that's not what I'm running on. Had he done that, I would not have an issue with him. But that's not who I want representing the
But
country.
Swoopy, maybe he wouldn't have been as popular if he didn't bring that in.
Well, look around the world, by the way, right now in the Philippines and Venezuela, there are these, in Hungary, France, all these white supremacist people are being elected into office because a lot of underrepresented voters don't know who to vote for. They feel left out, and they're voting for these
You know what? They need to read their history books in Europe because I see that it's going to the right. We know what happened last time.
Yes,
I sure
but
do.
see, people never believe. People don't believe it's going to happen again.
Joy.
You know.
I mean,
Hello.
that's
Hey, you know what? This has been so much fun. We'll be right back with more Hot Topics.
How much should you tell your children about your bad behavior as a kid? Whether fussing up about drugs and alcohol can backfire big time. Later.
You know, President Obama spoke with at-risk teens in Chicago over the weekend and talked openly about how he got high when he was their age. He said he realizes now he was kind of mad about not having a dad at home and led him to make bad decisions. Some people say, is this kind of honesty a good idea? Would you tell your kids about your past if you have drugs or you were drinking? Would you tell them about your exploratory
No, it's none of their business.
You would hide. Don't you look for those teaching moments, Joy, with your kids? No?
No, this is don't ask, don't tell.
My parents had a don't ask, do tell policy with me because when I was a freshman, I grew up my whole life, they were like, don't do drugs. I was a very good kid, read very dorky, no drinking, no weed, anything. And then my freshman year in college, my parents, somehow it came out that they like smoked a lot of weed in the 70s, and I cried. Because I was, again, really cool.
And then why was that your reaction?
I think because they were like my parents, and I looked up to them in this, like, you know, kind of holy light. And then to find out that they actually were like these 70s, everyone in the 70s smoked, but it really, I don't know, it really hit me hard. And then I actually tried it myself and realized I'm a terrible smoker of all sorts.
So they didn't pass that along to you. They did not pass that along to you.
They did not. I gained weight, and I was crazy.
That's what you tell your daughters. You tell your daughters it's going to make you fat, and the boys too, because it makes you eat. You open that refrigerator, you eat whatever's in the refrigerator.
It's just not my thing. I like Starbucks.
I agree with you, Joy. I think that
Not that I know.
Right.
that you don't need to tell. I don't think you need to be a buddy with your kid. I don't think you need to relate to your child in that way. I think that there has to be certain boundaries with you know, adults and
So you would
parents.
tell them or you wouldn't?
I would not. And
Oh.
in fact, the International Journal of Psychology agrees with me and basically says that this is a tricky issue for parents because drugs are a different animal, and that the bottom line is when you tell your kids, I did this too, it opens up the door for them doing
Well, then
it.
you can say the same thing about alcohol. I know that, you know, in my family, I was exposed to it probably when I was 5. My dad let me have a sip of alcohol, a beer every now and then. They would let me have
You
a
were like
glass of
smoking
wine.
a cigar, just like a
But I never really took advantage of it because it wasn't something that I pined for. It wasn't forbidden. But unless there's a teaching moment involved, like there are things about my parents I just honestly don't want to know. Unless there's a teaching moment involved, I just say you
Would
don't
you
have
tell
to
your
have a
kids if you had an
conversation.
affair when you were married? Would you tell them that?
No.
No.
Well, then why would you tell them that?
Well, because your kids are probably not going to be getting married and having affairs, but they may find that they're interested in finding out what marijuana or alcohol is like. And sometimes, if you want to keep that holier-than-thou reputation that you start as a child with your children, that's fine. But I wanted my kid to know that I'd gone through her struggles. It wasn't about being friends. It was about, hey, you're not the only one who's gone through this. So I'm not mad at you.
Yeah, fine. But you were still
But, you know, I don't think you have that conversation when they're 8.
No.
I think it's a conversation kids start, you know,
18?
have you been, no, you don't know much about middle school yet, but there are all kinds of things going on in middle school. So what you want to say is, I don't know if this is going to happen to you, but it may. And let me tell you, I went through this, so let me tell you how I dealt with it. It has nothing to do with being
a good
friends.
point.
It's you know, you can't pretend to be something you're not.
Right.
Yeah.
Because there are so many, you know, on this show alone, you've given up so much information about yourself that everybody you've known now has gone back to see what they can remember, so that when they see you next time and you said, no, I've never ever, they're going to say, you know what? I remember when she was falling down. Girl, let me tell you about your mother.
That is true.
What about smoking weed with your kids? Because I knew that happens too. That's, on my life, there are people who will smoke. They'll be like, yeah, I'm going to go home, smoke with my parents. I'm like, what planet are you on? Like, that is just, but people do it. It's not, listen, God, live your life, be happy.
I just think it's a bad idea to smoke pot because you keep reading the same thing over and over again. It doesn't help you in school.
What are you talking about?
That's what happened. Why? That's true. Certainly was true the time I tried it.
Well,
You tried it reading the same paragraph over and over and over again. Right? Don't you do that?
That's hysterical. Can I say, I saw Martin Lawrence this weekend.
With alcohol as well, you know, except that you're trying to, you know, you get in the car. You do dumb stuff sometimes when you're high. I wouldn't put that on marijuana, but you know, we're not allowed to have this conversation. I'm not allowed to have this conversation about marijuana right now. So the winners of the $429 million Powerball jackpot, I'm going to get my butt handed to me, have been revealed to be the same. It sounds kind of wonderful, and it's like, you don't hear it that often, and it makes you proud. It's like, oh, okay.
Good for
things
them.
happen. But they said, the mom said that the numbers came to her through divine intervention through a dream. And you know what? I do sometimes believe, we're all praying to win the lottery.
I'm going to go to sleep after the show. I need some numbers, girl.
I do think that God does reward people that he knows are going to give back and be faithful to him. This family, they're giving back to their church.
I wouldn't put this in God's hands, because then it's kind of like you're saying God doesn't pay as much attention to everybody else. And I think this is one of the things that, if you're lucky enough to get a lottery hit, you made it about the world and not about now that's not to say they're not going to take care of themselves. That's a great thing.
It's enough there for everybody.
There's enough for everybody. And what a great thing.
Get taxed on that money?
Oh, yeah.
Taxed. The lump sum. But to him, who much is given, much is expected.
I love the term lump sum. It's the only time lump is a good word. Give me that lump sum. I need it.
Lump crab?
Lump crab, true. We'll be right back. We're going. Yeah.
Still ahead, publicly shamed on live TV, the female meteorologist who ignited a firestorm because of what she was wearing.
At this table lately has been the issue of body shaming. From Meghan Trainor's Photoshop music video to Amy Schumer's plus-size controversy is something we've been talking about a lot. But we want to start a healthy conversation today when it comes to our bodies. So we're partnering with the lifestyle website Refinery 29 and their Take Back the Beach campaign. The goal here, we want to encourage women of all shapes and all sizes to embrace our curves this summer, and we at the table, we're doing it too. Did you guys know that?
I didn't know we were
Yes, well, we're doing it. So we want you to join us in this powerful movement. Yes, we are. Okay, you have to join us in the Take Back the Body shaming conversation. So come up with a word that describes your positive body outlook, like sassy, beautiful, or fierce, or joy. Do you have a description?
I'll be wearing a hefty bag that day.
Okay, hefty bag. And we want you to post a photo on Instagram or Twitter wearing beachwear that you feel confident in and proudly display that word. Post it with the hashtag #TakeBackTheBeach, and we just might feature your story on The View. And ladies, we are doing this. We don't have to wear a bathing suit.
We're not doing it. Apparently,
no one told me about this.
There's a new wedding trend.
I'm just joking. My word is
well, we don't have to wear
Brotox groom. Do you know about this? The wedding trend of the Brotox groom. Since men are marrying later, they're prepping for the wedding by getting cosmetic procedures and hair transplants.
Yeah.
Would you? Oh my God! And then there's Brotox, which is, I guess, a play on the words. Have you seen this trend happening?
I've seen it on the streets of Manhattan when you see a guy whose face is a little bit too shiny, and he can't move that well.
And the eyebrows.
And I personally think men should stay away from cosmetic procedures.
Why?
Well, I have daddy issues, so I like a guy who's a little beat up, but I also feel that it personally can make men sometimes look a little feminine. Everyone kind of all starts to get the same face when they do the fake lips and the injectables and everything else. It's like pod people. Everyone starts looking the same. So I think men should just be, I don't know.
Sometimes they get an eye job, it doesn't look great, or the Botox. But I think the hair implants it's a good idea. Well, it looks like a doll's head, like a doll's head. When you know what a doll's head, and when you were a kid, didn't you pull the hairs out, and then they had those little dots? It looks like that sometimes, but then when it fills in, you have a whole head of hair. I think men struggle with baldness. They don't like it.
They don't like the baldness.
ED, baldness. It's hard for men out here.
ED is different. ED is different.
Feel better about themselves.
Right.
I think it's fine. And interestingly enough, check this out. Since 2014, over 400,000 men have received injectables, marking a 337% increase.
Oh, now nobody will know what the baby's going to look like.
Yeah, basically.
The bride doesn't know. The bride has had her face and stuff done. The groom has had his face and stuff done. Child, that baby's going to be a young black baby. And you won't even know.
The baby's born with a gigantic nose.
Yes.
Who are we to judge? So we can get it, but men can't.
But men are subjected to ageism in the workplace, just like women, so they're uptight about it.
I just think people need to lighten up with all these procedures because we're getting really knee-deep into it. Friends of mine who are in their early 30s are doing things to themselves, and it just makes everyone look the same age. So if you don't need it yet, just wait until you need it, and then go nuts. Men and women. Crazy.
I'm not getting it. You're not sticking a needle in my face and putting botulism in it. Not going to happen.
It's very good for a certain thing. You know what else it does, Botox?
What does it do?
Well, it stops the sweating in your armpits.
I don't want, see,
Okay.
I don't mind sweat. Look.
Some people
Let me sweat. This is what I smell like. This is what I look like. This is what I smell like.
I don't think you smell fine.
But not when I don't have deodorant on.
Well, it gets rid of migraine headaches. It has a lot of
Smiling.
You know?
It's great too. Yeah. So it's great.
You know, it's kind of crazy. Do you do it? Do you not? You did the beach mention, and I guess we're gonna go and come right back.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Kimmel. I'm here to kick off Comedy Week on The View with some mean tweets and some pretty swell chest hair.
You got my vote. Joining us at the Hot Topics table to kick off Comedy Week on The View. Who knew? Please welcome the amazing and fabulous and running for vice president, the fabulous Jimmy Kimmel. Come on out here, Jimmy. So can this be true? Why are you running? Have they reached out to you? Why are you running
No one
for
has
vice?
reached out to me, Whoopi. I'm running purely on my own volition. Nobody's asked me to be their running mate. I just decided to seize it myself. It turns out you don't need a president to be vice president. And it's an easy job. It pays like $230,000 a year, so I figured, what the hell? I would like that.
That's not
some
bad.
change to you, and you know it.
Well, listen, I'll take whatever change I can get.
Do we get to keep these mugs?
Oh, thank you. Yes, I have a View mug on my desk every night on my show, and I think it's only fair that you guys now are sipping.
Thank you.
Yes, this is, by the way, this is,
Kimmel for vice president.
Your vice president mug.
a toast to me. Thank you.
So, what do you make of the allegations that Trump has been posing as his own publicist
John
since
Miller.
Listen,
19?
if Trump says that wasn't him, we have no choice but to believe him. He's never lied to us before. I think if I was him, I would have just said, because it's clearly him, right? I mean, I said, yeah, it was a prank call. This idiot on the other end of the phone didn't know it was. How does this guy, that's the question to me. How does the guy from People magazine or whatever go along with this?
Have you
I mean,
ever seen their crossword puzzle? It's like the easiest one in any magazine. Like, I don't think they realize it.
you're right.
Am I wrong?
But that's the real indicting part. I mean, it sounds just like him. How can you not figure it out?
One of his
Tremendously
pseudonyms
well.
is Barron something, right?
Barron, yeah, right, John Barron.
Yeah, but his son's name is Barron. Ding, 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 ding. You know what I mean?
Maybe it's not really his son either.
Why do you think he would lie about that?
Why would he lie about it? Listen, if you were calling People magazine and telling them all the women that wanted to have sex with you, I think you would be embarrassed about it too,
Is that
right?
a special double issue, by the way?
I wish Madonna would weigh in on this. Supposedly she's one of the people that was calling and trying to get a date with him. Why haven't we heard from Madonna? These are the sorts of things I will handle when I'm Vice President of the United States.
You tackle the big issues, Jimmy. Tackle the
We
big
also
issues.
talked about whether or not you should tell your kids about using drugs or alcohol. What's your take on
Well, I have a daughter who's less than 2 years old, 22 months old, and I have a 24-year-old and a 22-year-old. My policy was always keep my mouth shut, because I think if my mom and dad, by the way, my mom and dad still haven't admitted that they had sex to make me. So, but if I had heard they'd done anything, I would have considered that license to do it myself.
Right.
Because even if I got caught, I'd be like, well, you did it.
Yeah.
And so I think
exactly.
the best thing, I don't know, to me, honesty is not the best policy.
Yeah.
And that's, again, why I'm running for vice president.
Is that your slogan? Honesty is not the best policy?
now, yeah.
I like it. Well done.
Real Housewife of Atlanta, Candy Burst, shot a short video of her attempt to potty train her baby boy. He's 4 months old. She said she really wants him to get used to sitting on the toilet.
Yeah, well, she looks like she's about to flush him down the toilet.
But she had done this successfully with her other child. She said her other child was potty trained like under a year old.
Here's the thing, if you stick your kid in a toilet for any length of time, eventually they're going to use it.
That is true. That is true.
So I guess you can consider that a success, except for when the
Jane potty trained? She's 22 months old. You're in the thick of it, right?
My daughter's not potty trained, but she will. We can always tell, and she always denies. Sometimes she covers her eyes when she's clearly, she squats down and covers her eyes when she's pooping, which weirdly is the same thing I do.
That's so proud.
They say you're supposed to take them and put them in the bathroom when they're pooping, but I don't know. It seems weird.
You can do it with animals. You can potty train cats. Did you know that?
But here's the problem.
I don't ask why I know that. I'm a very cat person. Go on.
Like a cat can't flush the toilet, okay? And maybe this tall. Maybe you can put him on the toilet. He can't get off.
Can't get off.
You can't leave him there. So if the phone rings, what are you going to do? Stay right there. And he's like,
I'm drowning.
Can somebody come and
Turns
get
out
me?
maybe the Real Housewives aren't the people to turn to for parenting advice.
And that is why he's running for vice
Thank you
president.
very much.
We'll be right back. It's crazy.
Hey, ladies, do you like to laugh?
Oh, yeah.
Well, this week, the group's letting it all hang out. Because our favorite comedians are here. Ellie Kemper, Keegan-Michael Key, Anthony Anderson, and Margaret Cho.
You don't want to miss it. Trust me.
It's all this week on The View on ABC.
And we are back with the lovely and talented Jimmy Kimmel.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. And, you know, I brought something with me that I don't know if you're going to like or not.
Oh.
But you've seen Mean Tweets. It's something that we do on our show.
I love that.
Oh, yeah.
This is something that I was sitting at my kitchen table with my wife and our friend Kelly Oxford, and we were reading, Kelly is on Twitter, and we were reading these nasty things that people were saying about us and pretending to think they were funny. And then my wife said this would be great on the show, and so we started having celebrities read mean tweets about themselves.
Yeah.
So I brought some mean tweets about each of you. And
It didn't take you long to find them, I'm sure.
well, there were some, yes, there were numerous. But if you want
I'm very fragile, but I'm excited.
fragile but excited is exactly what we're looking for. So I don't know what order you guys want to start in.
We'll
but
start over here.
Okay, start over there.
Yes, so we're going to read it. Okay, so...
Okay, here we go. It's Mean Tweets, The View edition. And begin.
I think this is the start of a new franchise, you guys. Okay, this one says, it's going to be an interesting day when the alien who has taken over Paula Ferris's body returns home and we see what she's really like. Wow. I don't know what that means. Do you?
I don't know what it means either, but it's
It means you're a Looney Tune.
Well, that's a given. I mean, I think everybody knows that, right? Embrace your crazy.
What's
I
yours?
have one.
Okay, Sonny.
Drink every time Sunny Hostin says she's a former prosecutor, and you will be drunk real fast.
5 minutes, baby. It's true. It is true. Did you know she's a former prosecutor?
She's a lawyer.
another thing. There you go.
Okay, mine says, joyless boob har is dumb as rocks. That's from my husband.
Some of them are more clever than others.
Boob har. I love it.
This one, I think this one's brilliant, but I don't see it. It says, at Mishcall, loved your title role in Harry and the Hendersons. Now, I got to be honest with you, I got laser hair removal, so I feel like this one is just off base. You guys can laugh. It's okay. That is me.
What's yours?
Harry and the Hendersons.
Mine says, Whoopi Goldberg has threatened to leave The View. If only we could get her to leave the planet.
Maybe you and Paula, two aliens, can go together.
I'll go.
And this is my response. You first.
So, Jimmy, I have to ask you something, because I saw that you were on with Kelly and Michael this morning.
There was no Michael.
I mean, that show.
Yeah.
So are you auditioning for yet another job?
No, I am not auditioning for a job. You know, they need co-hosts now that Michael has moved to Canada or whatever happened. And so I was there, and it was interesting to be there in the aftermath of all of that.
How did it feel?
People felt happy. I don't know what was going on there, but I would imagine that for you guys, there's no greater thrill than seeing the host of another morning show on ABC fighting, right? I mean, finally, somebody else.
We don't fight.
We never
You guys don't
love
fight
each
any.
other.
But there has been some fighting in the past.
Yes.
We actually go backstage and sing Kumbaya now.
Yeah, you remember when Rosie was on the show those 2 times?
Rosie who? Oh, Rosie.
And
Keep going. I'm into this.
yeah, I mean, there were a lot. Let's be honest. You've had more fights here than the WWE. I mean, this is. We're lucky this table is still intact.
If only it were true. Oh my gosh. You know, you just announced this year's Emmy you were just announced as this year's Emmy host. And this will be your second time doing it. Is there anything you are in your mind you've got to do this time that you didn't do last time?
I haven't really started working on it yet, but there's one thing I would like to do. I would like all the presenters, you know, usually they'll have like a couple, you know, 2 people present together. I like them all to be people who hate each other. Ex-husbands and wives.
That's a great idea. I see you're on this negative track. Bad tweets, all this other nasty
I'm very negative. I'm very negative, and that's why I'm going to be the vice president.
One of the reasons you might be negative, actually, is because you're on a crazy diet. Now, let me see if I'm getting this correct.
It's not crazy. It's
Well,
not
it's working. You look good.
It's a reasonable diet. I don't eat on Monday, and I don't eat on Thursday.
You
the
eat
rest,
something. You eat something.
I eat a little. I eat like 500 calories on those days.
And this is a starved day for you. You're
What day
eating
is
very
today?
little Monday.
Oh, I didn't even think about it. It is a
See?
starved day, yeah.
no.
It's so early,
You
I
already
forgot.
blow it?
Yeah, yeah.
So
I
you
ate
can
the
do
whole
tomorrow.
fruit plate backstage.
Wait, you got a fruit plate?
I did get a fruit plate, yeah.
So only 500 calories on 2 days a week.
Yeah, right.
Doesn't make you mean and grouchy, I would think.
You know, I don't think so, but my wife and everyone I work with say it makes me mean
I
and
see.
grouchy,
Okay.
yeah. But you know what? It does work, and I eat like a pig the rest of the
good.
time.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, thank you.
talking about your wife.
Yes.
Apparently you pulled out all the stops for Molly, that's your wife's name, on Mother's Day this year, but she's still a little upset with you about something.
I can't win. First of all, my wife, my sister-in-law, and my wife's mom sent them to get massages in the morning. While they were gone, I made a beautiful brunch. I made waffles on the waffle iron. I made biscuits by hand. I mean,
Really?
just the whole eggs, everything, you name it, I made it. Then they came home, we ate the whole thing, they loved it. I gave my wife an assortment of presents, some from me, some from my daughter, and then we all went out to dinner. My wife and my daughter, the 3 of us went out to dinner afterwards, and during the meal my wife said, thanks for all the stuff. Where's my card?
Oh,
I forgot to, apparently the card is...
the card is key.
I didn't know
I think
that.
that's different, though. Every woman's different. That makes you feeling better.
Why, you don't care about the card?
No, I don't.
I like the card.
I don't
like
care
that.
about the card.
I like the card.
I don't care about the card.
Did everyone get cards?
I always get a
I
card
didn't
for
get
my
a card.
I have no children, so I got nothing. Anyways, but it's
You
I
want a
got the
card that says, you know, I love you or something like that.
Yeah, I know, Joy. She told me.
Well, then, so it's a teaching
It
experience
was
for
teaching,
you.
except for last year when I did the same thing. Somehow I forgot a
So
full year
there are
later.
no accidents, you know what Freud says, so why don't you want to give her the card?
Oh, this is analysis.
Lie down.
He probably just forgot.
Thank you
There's
very
no
much.
Making biscuits, for God's sake. That takes a lot of work.
Biscuits are better than a card. Have you ever eaten a card?
No, the card is...
They're disgusting.
The card's important.
I only eat cards on Mondays and Thursdays.
This is your takeaway.
Oh, we're leaving. I can't stay without my glasses. Hold on. Okay, so thanks to Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, you want?
Jimmy Kimmel Live airs weeknights at 11:35 p.m. right here on ABC. We'll be right back.
So, welcome back. I'm curious. There was a story we didn't get to, but I'm looking at everybody's wardrobe.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel compelled to wear sleeveless things or sexier things on television, or do you think that you should just be able to dress how you dress?
I wear Spanx just because I'm on television. So, yes, I think we're compelled to wear things
I
that
sleep in
definitely
Spanx,
Yeah.
so that doesn't count for me.
You all see me in the morning. I mean, I'm always in the same pair of sweatpants and T-shirt. It's just,
Right.
I never
I wear
get
the
dressed
same
up.
pants every day on the air. Of course, I have several pairs of them.
Right.
I think they walk away by themselves.
You're like Batman. You open your closet, just pants.
It's true.
I wear nicer stuff on the show.